on to the art of the heist and organized crime. In the 1970s, gangsters were in and out of jail, gangland killings led the news, and five crime families ruled New York City streets, from drugs to gambling to prostitution. Frank DiMatteo grew up in the life. His father was a bodyguard for the Gallo crime family, and Frank himself became a driver for his dad at 13 years old. Now, what he saw is chronicled in his book, The President Street Boys, Growing Up Mafia. And Frank joins us on BK Live right now. He's live. He's here. Welcome, Frank.
Thank you.
So it's all in the book, but it's not all in the book because you just told me you got another book in you.
Yes. Well, this is a two-part book. Life After the Gallows, and I'm doing that Screw magazine book.
Okay, so before we get to Life After the Gallows, right to the title, Growing Up Mafia. Some guys spend this quest trying to get in and become made men like we see in the movies, but this was your birthright almost.
Pretty much so. My uncle, my father was already in the rackets already, so it was common, to grow up into it. It was natural to see what was going on. You thought it was, everyday right thing to do, and what you see was what you see. So I never questioned it,
right?
So it was just automatically when I was my turn to old enough to drive.
At 13 years old, I know people born and raised within 5 blocks of this place who've never been behind the wheel, and you were at 13 driving?
I was driving. I was 6 foot tall. I looked a little older.
Really?
And I was driving, I was
an early bloomer. You had a growth at 13.
Yeah, I think I bloomed by 13. I was 6 foot tall, 155, 60 pounds. And I stood that way from 13 to about 40. So
wow.
I looked the same all those years. And as soon as it was my turn, I used to drive, do all the driving.
Okay, so give me some structure to this thing. Your father was a bodyguard, and he worked for the Gallo family.
Yes, my
father.
And
the Gallo family were like a subsidiary of one of the 5 families.
Yes.
So give me the big 5.
Well, you got the Pafacci family at the time, the Gambino family, Genovese family, Bonanno family, and Lucchese's.
Okay. Yes. So the Gallos were working under
the Pafacci family.
Pafacci family.
Yes.
And your dad was working with them.
My father was working with them, yes.
So this thing about being a bodyguard, that's like one of these witness to history kind of things where you're always ever present and in the room, but a little removed as well from the inner workings.
Exactly. Exactly. It's all according. If you're needed at the time, you're privy to what's going on. If you're not, you just step back, keep an eye out on everything. My father pretty much I was with him every day with everything. So if I didn't need to know about something, he would just give me the signal, and I would.
What was the signal?
The signal was you need a drink. You need a drink, and I knew that. He didn't need me to sit and listen to that, what needed to be what was being said.
Go get
just
a Coke.
Just to keep me safe for something I didn't need to know.
Yeah. So we went through a list of some of the more colorful names that were given to nicknames in the family for coding protection, I guess, and some that I imagine came from law enforcement as well. We saw some colorful ones, but you were pretty simple.
Yeah, Frankie did.
Frankie D.
Frankie D. I was easy. Frankie D. I had a couple of them, but
why not like Shorty or something?
No,
you're a 6 foot tall 13-year-old.
There was a few that called me. They called me just Frankie Screw. They used to call me Frankie Pecker. They used to call me a lot of things. I was always pecking around. But Frankie D was a simple, Frankie Boy. The wise guys used to call me Frankie Boy.
Yeah.
So it was common. My father was Mr. Goldberg.
Mr. Goldberg.
Yeah, just came up with.
There's a story there.
Yeah, when he was on going out doing bad things, and that was the key, calling back in, and
Okay, that's like the Dr. Jekyll code.
Mr. Goldberg
Let's
was really
bring on
good.
Mr. Goldberg.
Yeah.
So we've got some photos here. This book, I should let people know, is full of photos. So in another life, maybe you would have been a photographer.
Yeah, well, yes, I do like photography.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
We got 100 pictures here. Who am I looking at now? This is from the 50s.
Yes, that's my godfather, all the way to the left, Bobby Bongiovanni. He wound up being a bodyguard to Joey Gallo. But this is when he was the Farragut Boys in the 50s.
Yeah. So the Farragut Boys spun off into the President Street.
A couple of guys did, yeah. They grew up from the street gang to organized crime, yeah.
Let's go to the next photo here. So we're going to take you a little bit forward. These are the 7.
Yeah, this is, I think, 1960, 61. This is Gallo crew. You got Mondo the Midget, you got Albert Gallo, you got Mooney, and Butchie. They're the main guys in a Gallo family.
So Mondo the Midget, I've been told, had a pretty interesting pet.
He had a lion. He had a lion for about 6 months.
To be clear, Mondo the Midget was the short one.
Yeah.
And he had a lion.
Yes, he did.
On President Street
we had,
in
yes.
Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn, yeah.
In the basement.
In the basement. 6 months we had him until he got too big and he couldn't handle him no more.
Mondo, if you can imagine, 6 months later, the lion outgrew his keeper.
The lion got big fast. They grow fast.
Yeah. I would imagine. I don't know. So look at this. Who's this handsome guy in the corner over there?
That's got to be me.
All 6 foot of you.
Yeah, that's me. That's my godfather, Bobby Bongiovanni, in the middle, and this gang member, Roy Musico.
So this is like
we're in Auburn, or we're in Alcatraz visiting him. I think that was not Alcatraz. I'm sorry, Attica.
This isn't Attica?
That was in Attica.
Why does it look like nice? It looks like
that's
they have
a
like
prison.
a
That's
photo
a prison
booth set up or something?
That was a prison picture in Attica.
Really?
Yeah.
I heard prison pictures, you have to have your hands showing at all times.
I don't know.
Like they like to see what your hands are doing.
Maybe.
So
not to us. Maybe they liked us. They trusted us.
Well,
Who knows? I know, but that was definitely Attica.
And so you're on the corner of Douglas Street here.
And Court Street.
Douglas and Court in Brooklyn.
Yes.
Who's that lady?
That's my wife.
These are their early courtship days.
Yes, it was. That was, I think, the first year I met her.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're getting, who's that? Bianca Jagger.
That's my wife.
Yeah.
Yes, that's at Albert Gallo's wedding.
So we're going down, limping down this nostalgic road, looking at these great photos. But what was it like then? Were things like fast and loose? Did it feel like you were like the hot boys, like you were moving around and doing stuff?
Those are the years you were making money, moving around, and you're who you are in the gang, and coming up, sowing your oats. It was very interesting. It's fast. And,
so what did that mean for a guy like you who didn't have to be like the guy like we see in the movies who say, oh, kid, go buy me cigarettes, and you work your way into the sort of fabric of the family?
I was lucky. I was Ricky, that guy's son, man. So, and he was really well respected. I mean, he was the boss of the family's bodyguard. So he was, he was really close. And being his son, I just was privy, and I didn't have to do things I didn't have to do. That is a capo in the Jersey crime family. My father was schooling him. Yeah.
So I'm wondering about all of the movies that we see. There's like a sort of patina that they put on it. Which is the closest to life as you knew it in reality if you look at the TV shows or the popular depictions of life in the mafia?
What movie?
Yeah, like if Goodfellas missed the mark, The Sopranos was too dramatic. Like, is there ever been something you've seen on
Mean
screen?
Streets.
Mean Streets.
Yes, I thought that was the closest to Street Guys.
Yeah.
I thought that was, to me, that was more what you've seen, that we've seen. I think the other movies were a little more glorified, a little too more fancy.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Sopranos was a great show. I mean, there are a lot of good stuff in it. I mean, nothing's ever perfect at every little thing, but I thought it was very good, yeah.
So is there an old lady on Carroll Street right now who is saying, these kids are punks, why are you talking to him? I remember that kid out of my window, and they were no good. Like, were you doing victimless crimes, or were you just, like, skimming stuff? Like, who would be mad at you?
No, they wouldn't be an enabler. You don't do nothing in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
You would be liked.
Well, whose neighborhood were you hated in? Where would you
whoever they send you, but it wasn't your own, So we would never do nothing at home. We were good little boys at home.
Good little boys at home.
Sure.
Before Mr. Goldberg came around.
That's it. The neighbor would go, hey, Frankie boy, can you go to the fruit market and get some vegetables? Okay,
right. There you go.
Would go. If you were 10 or if you were 20, but you would never do nothing at home.
So you got away from home a little bit, Copacabana?
Yeah, Copa. Yeah, this is like 70-something too. That's my father.
Yeah.
That's Stevie Gallo. That's me and two bodyguards.
That's you back there. Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
That's my mother and my cousin. My mother's up front.
Yeah.
Making that funny face.
So you also had a little vacations. You were there, but you had some interesting vacation mates. Who's that on the chair?
This is a summer place we had in Freeport. You have on the bottom left is Stevie Cirillo, Bobby Bongiovanni, and all the way to the right you have Al Goldstein.
Yeah.
I was taking a photo.
So what was the peak? What was like the best time sitting at the Copa? If we're talking about Brooklyn in the 70s and life as a President Street boy, what was just like the apex of all that?
70 to 76. And
So
after that, it
6-year
changed.
run, that was pretty
much,
good.
Yeah, because after that, it pretty much broke up. So
Yeah.
I would say 70, 76.
So you were born into the thing. How did you get away from the life?
In 1999, we wound up with a crew out of Jersey. And my father came in as a consigliere for them. It was a new guy that got made, wanted to be a skipper in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And they needed help. So we wound up going and helping him. He wound up getting arrested in 99, and the boss of the Jersey family wound up flipping, became a rat, and then took out almost the whole crew. And he wound up flipping.
Yeah.
And then we were just worrying about everybody getting arrested. We never got called. The cops never came over to us, and no one ever called us up, and we just wiggled away. You know what I mean? And we just walked away.
So what do you know as a guy who's a President Street boy who grew up the way that you did that I don't have any clue about? Like watching that scene in Goodfellas where he's like, you don't sit with your back to the door kind of thing. Are there like little pieces of knowledge in your brain that I might not ever even give a thought to?
You never walk, never sit back against the door. You don't talk to a wise guy's girlfriend or daughter or wife. Certain things you don't say to a guy above you.
Yeah.
You can't raise your hands. You have to keep your mouth shut. Little things like that.
Okay, so my last question then. I grew up in Chicago, and I wonder if in New York and in Brooklyn specifically, if there was a difference in the way that the families and the organization was here versus being in Jersey or in Chicago and other cities.
Everybody runs them differently.
Yeah.
It's a basic rules and regulations, but they're made to be broken, so everyone just does it differently. The Chicago outfit they're completely different than us. New York families all supposed to live by the same sword, but they did what they had to do and what they wanted to do.
Yeah. Well, Frank DiMatteo, the book is The President Street Boys Growing Up Mafia. Thanks for coming by and talking about Brooklyn in the 70s with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate it. There's more great pictures and stories in there. You should pick it up before it gets to round 2, all right?